Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there. Welcome back.
Welcome back, guys. We are so happy to have you as part of this happy family.
We really are. And today is just such a really wonderful day. I don't know. We woke up today feeling kind of like there's some sort of a release or some kind of an energetic boundary that's been dropped. I can't quite figure it out, but today's been very good.
And it could be a personal shift because we are going through these times, and naturally, those of us that are able to avoid certain things and get enough time in nature and peace and just pulling in the energy that's coming from the sun, which is really a relay for source itself, God with the big G. There's beautiful changes that are underway. And again, if it wasn't for this dark control grid on this planet, truly, you would be seeing heaven manifest on earth. And we wanted to share with you guys, because so many new people coming and going all the time as far as the channel goes, exactly who we are. Do check out evolutionaryenergyarts.com. Before creating the channel, basically, we're both healers. We're both energy workers. I'm a Reiki master teacher, a Qigong practitioner for probably 30 plus years now. And have studied so many different modalities. Cindy is, I think, the most amazing channel on the planet. That's my opinion. I don't think I've never encountered somebody like her. She literally is like Whoopi Goldberg from Ghost. So she can pretty much always see people's guides, loved ones that passed on, their guardian angels, so to speak, often can get information about past lives. And she is also somebody that is into Vedic astrology and does Vedic astrology charts. So we do everything from energy work to the Vedic astrology, spiritual coaching. This is kind of what we do on the regular basis. And then we fit in the videos in between working on people and helping people.
Right. And, we do a lot of soul realignment, and that's really, really important, is being in alignment with our higher purpose. So removing those blocks, we can do aura readings, energy readings, figuring out where exactly are you stuck, removing those blocks so that the information you need to become your best self is able to come into your life so you can manifest everything for the highest good for you and your family, everyone.
Yeah, exactly. It's about ascension. That's what it would be all about if we didn't have all these distractions on the globe right now. And all these distractions are just about trying to slow down the ascension process. That's really everything. When we see all these big headlines, oh no, this is happening. Oh no, that is happening. What's really happening is they're trying to create fear, panic, and distraction because they don't want us evolving and going outside of where they can go. And we're talking about them. We're talking about the controllers, who are very limited compared to humanity itself. These beings have chosen to stay in a limited frequency range. They can't climb up any higher up the ascension ladder because they're stuck by their own choices and their own karmic wheel. And so what they want to do is just basically keep other people there with them that they could utilize as a resource, kind of like a herd, kind of like a flock, kind of in some ways, like what we see when we look to the Sumerian legends about using humanity as a labor resource, as a food source, energetic food source as well. So, these things are really the bigger picture because we would be going above and beyond their grasp, their ability to control us. And we would be soaring to new heights, and we'd be in harmony with the mother energy. The earth, our own mother is right under our feet and all around us, and we don't recognize this because of the system. But actually, many people do recognize it, and more people are waking up.
Right. So we try to peel things away, like layers of an onion so that you can find your inner self, who you are. So I think what happened this morning was really beautiful because Mike and I just got up and we had time to actually be, and I always say human beings, you know, instead of human doings, because they have us doing, and we don't really have time to sit and go within and find out what we're about, why are we here, what's our purpose, what are my gifts, what are my strengths, what are my weaknesses. We don't just have time to sit and be, and that really helped this morning, I think, just to go outside and sit and listen to Mike. Mike's been playing guitar and he's really good. We're working on some.
I'm not really good,
He
actually.
is really good. He's awesome. He's the best.
You know, honestly, for almost all my life, I had no musical ability and didn't want to cultivate it. Then, you know, there was this kind of like bucket list feeling like, you know what, I've never tried to learn any musical instruments. I'll grab a guitar and let's see if I could putz with it. And I didn't feel comfortable. I felt clumsy. And, you know, it's been a thing where I'll grab a guitar here and there over the years, but never spent serious time dedicated to it. But now I've decided, you know, I'm going to really spend serious time dedicated to it. I'm going to start to understand it inside and out. And then with Cindy's help and work, you know, I've uncovered some past lives in which, you know, that music was the whole focus point of my life in a past life, a recent past life. So no wonder, you know, I think my soul didn't want to focus on it until later in life, where it's now time to cultivate that inner peace that can be gained from. It is a meditation. When you're like getting lost in music, it can be a meditation. Whether you're playing it or just listening to it, it can be a meditative thing. And now is the time to cultivate that. You have to cultivate that which makes your soul happy.
And you know what I would really love to do, and I hope we can get the guitar going on a loop and get the mantras going, because I want to share with you guys that inner peace that we feel, because we are all empaths. If you're listening to this show, you're probably empathic, and you can gain from that peace, the energy that we put out. So that's one of our goals, is to, you know, reach out in another way. So.
Absolutely, you know, and we do plan on working on that. We want to thank all of our Patreons and those that also support the channel on Ko-Fi and also through Medicinal Foods as well, before we get started with the news.
I think we had a Patreon, I believe it's Maria. Maria, thank you if I got the name right. Yes.
And we'll double check and make sure, but thank you for your support, because we couldn't do it without you guys. And, you know, this is a little different channel because we have a personal relationship with you guys. So, you know, people that just want the news and that's all they want, you know, we're not really out there just to give the news. We want to give the news, but we want to give it through a spiritual point of view and understanding the bigger, you know, landscape of what's really going on. There's plenty of channels that get, you know, they're not inhibited in their growth because they're just giving the news and they're not uncovering the matrix that's overlying the news. And so, you know, they might have, you know, 500,000 subscribers and get, you know, 100,000, 500,000 views a shot because, you know, they're basically in the system. But that's not us. You know, we're about people that want to grow, want to understand what is happening from a spiritual standpoint in the bigger picture, that understand there's just something that feels wrong here. You know, that waking up, it's like the Truman Show. You realize, wait a minute. Okay, there's something going on here. This is not all that there is. There's most definitely another agenda going on, and this is what we're all about.
Right. So if you guys are looking to dig deeper, looking to have a deeper understanding, this is where you go.
So, massive fire on Pilot Mountain, North Carolina, doubles in size since Monday. 1,050 acres burnt in 3 days. Windy and dry weather is forecast, and maybe we can put some intention for some rain there. Now, the powers, I was going to say the powers that be, the official powers that be, as far as determining what caused this, say that this is man-made, you know, so it doesn't look like this is lightning or anything like that, an act of nature. And just thought I'd start out with this because you don't always see these wildfires in North Carolina like this. And a beautiful area and a beautiful state. I love North Carolina, as you can see. It's sad. So let's send our intentions for some rain. To put this out. Now, maybe we can move some rain from these areas that are getting hammered over and over and over, as we see look at this, 12.4 million acres of crops in 2021 were destroyed in India. Completely underwater. This is part of what's going on this planet. And, we know there's artificial flavoring involved. Yes, there are natural cyclical earth changes, but to simply blame everything on the emissions from cars or even just a solar cycle, yeah, of course, the sun is the driver of everything. The sun is so massive and it has so much power and effect on our weather. But yet, when we know the declassified patents, when we see the technology, talking about musical instruments and angels playing their harps, right? Well, there's some more darker forces that are playing their harps that are most definitely having an effect on everything that we're seeing.
Yes, they are. And this is the part where we have to be cryptic, and we do appreciate your guys hanging with us.
And, we're hearing from family members in Australia that they've never seen the wildness and the craziness of the weather that they're seeing now. So wettest spring since 2010 in the land down under, and the wettest November since records began in 1900. And again, this is all aggravating that. This is all adding to that way too perfect storm of basically the supply chain disaster that is underway. Now, the true benevolent beings have been trying to give us extra time to prepare, and they want all the light workers and starseeds to be as prepared as possible. We keep hearing that from them. They want us to keep hammering home to you guys. Make sure, double check what you got. See, can you get to the point where, not only do you have maybe 3 to 6 months, but maybe even more supplies than that. I do think that you got money in the bank when you have food on the shelves in your house and you're stocked up pretty good. It's money in the bank, because it's pretty obvious that our money is going to be worth less and less as time goes on, and you might actually be using it for TP before you know it.
Right.
And, meanwhile, we have this rolling on as far as these earth changes with a little bit of spicing by the dark matrix manifestors there. 10 dead, unfortunately, or missing, and 60,000 homes damaged after floods in central provinces of Vietnam. 34 inches of rain in 4 days. Yeah, it doesn't let up. And it does seem so often that these areas that get hammered are breadbaskets. These are areas where, you have key critical crops being grown and washed away at the same time. We saw massive flooding in British Columbia. It was pretty scary in some areas there, where people actually getting cut off, bridges getting washed away. And here we go, another atmospheric river, third one in just under a week. Recent floods going on. This is not a good condition. But we do see this happening. And so again, let's see what we can do to send our intention and prayers. And again, Gaia, Mother Earth, will shake the dark powers that be off like fleas eventually as we get deeper into the photon belt. And, the benevolent energy from source really starts to impact us stronger and stronger.
It makes it very difficult for the darkness to hang on when the light is flooding in, for sure.
Explosions and unusual seismic signals recorded at Mount Pinatubo in the Philippines. I remember when it erupted in 1991. That was considered the second largest eruption of the 20th century. And so, when will we see something of a VEI 7 or so, 6 or 7? Again, the guides have confirmed that eventually we're going to be going towards a consistent cooling, even though we still have these massive extremes going on. And jumping over into geopolitical and all the tension going on, we see government nears weekend shutdown as the right side takes aim at certain dates for men. And as you can see, this word here, this is part of our lingo. We cut that part off and we put it in front.
Yes. Just to be safe. Because
it helps with certain programs to get them so they don't recognize us. So, really what has to happen is, again, this system that we find ourselves in is like a raging malignant cancer. So again, you can't just, put a Band-Aid on an amputated limb. This whole system has to completely go. It can't be tweaked. It's got to go. It's corrupted beyond belief because it's the system that's designed to keep us suppressed. Mm-hmm. It doesn't work as far as, we're not going to be able to evolve in the system. Ultimately, it's going to fall. It's going to crumble. They know this. That's why they have certain agendas out there with certain dates that they know there's certain dates. There's key times when, they hit milestones and they only have so much time left before it all crumbles around them. 2030 comes to mind. Mm-hmm. And, most definitely, as the light impacts the planet, it's going to fail. It's going to crumble. So when we look at all this, to me, I look at all this like this is just signs and symptoms of a dying system that has to die.
Right. And that means we need to be healthy and we need to be strong in our heart chakras so that we can repair and renew the new system that's, destined to come in. We need to stand as strong as we can for those who are just waking up, for our family members who are just waking up, for those who have thought that, whoever you are, you're just somebody crazy, but they start to see the system crumble and they're going to want answers. And you guys have spent so much time digging for truth, searching for truth, that you're going to be that one person that has the answers.
Yeah, we were talking to Yeshua about the system. It's obvious that when he was here physically last on the planet, the Roman Empire was the major dominant power, the political power structure of the elite, of the controllers on the planet at that time. And he wasn't a scene. There were different sects of Judaism. You had the Pharisees and the Sadducees who were, very much in the mix of the system itself. And then you had the Essenes that tried as much as they could to live outside the system. So they didn't typically live right there in the cities. Sometimes they would definitely venture into the cities, because sometimes you need to barter and trade. You need to do things, and you need to, touch those who are in the system. But they tried because they recognized how dark this system was. They tried to live outside the system, so they lived in their own little communities outside. And this is what we're going to be going to. We're going to be going back to the old ways, and we are going to slowly but surely come together in small little communities and work together outside of the system, supporting each other, just like he did in his day on Earth. And really, when he was here, he was in the middle of that Kali Yuga, and we're at the end now. We're transitioning out of the dark and heading towards, you could view it as a Bronze Age, as we head back up into the light, heading towards a Golden Age. And, again, what did they do? They tried to stay as far out of the system as possible. So they lived, in their own little groups or own little tribes and stayed as far away from the darkness as possible. And when we see these headlines, as we see a federal judge from Louisiana, Western District of Louisiana, he blocks that date for man for health workers. We are seeing that our consciousness, our desire can have a huge effect on what's happening. And, hence, this is why we see the Plan Bs, Plan Cs, Plan Ds. Because, you know what? It's like, it's like that little kid that's, screaming, "It's working, keep going, it's working, keep pushing." And then we see pushing back. This is a tug of war right now. This is a tug of war. As you see the EU chief, time to think about, yes, those dates for men all across, the European Union. And again, we shared with you guys that as far as the Earth changes, I thought the Four Corners area was pretty good. However, geopolitically, couldn't stand what I saw happening in New Mexico when we ran into some roadblocks, one of which had about 20 cop cars. And not just one person was checking you, looking at you. It was like 3 or 4 of them we had to pass by. I felt like, oh my God, this is like the Fourth Reich manifesting right in front of our faces. And I didn't feel comfortable in New Mexico anymore. So, we headed towards the great Republic of Texas that's going to be reborn, perhaps. And it just really because of the geopolitical. Even though, at that point, it was shortly after Texas had been hit by that massive cold blast out of nowhere, thanks to those, dark energies playing their musical instruments, if you know what I mean, the harps with the 2 A's.
Double A harps, right?
Yeah.
No, it's true. It's true. We're sorry we have to be so cryptic, but we do appreciate you guys hanging with us.
Yeah, so you could see what's going on in Sweden. Now, Sweden and some of the Nordic countries have been leading the way with technology, and people that seem to, they're okay with the system. They like the system, perhaps. And I'm not saying that all Swedes like the system, most certainly not the case, or, people of the Nordic countries. But there are those that are willingly and have been for years now, for expediency and just ease, instead of carrying my phone, why don't we just, stick something in under the skin there, and I don't got to carry anything. I can walk out of the house just, in a loincloth.
How convenient.
And that's it.
And just everything is like right there. You don't have to carry, you don't have to think about anything. Everything is just being driven for you,
I thought this was timeless. Did you see this? She didn't see this
yet.
1787 letter from Catherine the Great sells at an auction. And guess what it was talking about?
Wow, looky there.
Yeah, so, it starts you thinking about, and there she is on her horse, her white horse, with her sword in hand. Yeah, how long does this go on?
Yeah, right.
How long, how many times, how many cycles? And now we have the majority of Americans, it was 52% that viewed one particular nation as the quote-unquote enemy. And that is the fine dining ware country.
Right.
And that has gone up tremendously as, basically you could view this in so many ways. This is a sales job. They're selling it. They're selling it right now.
Well, it's already,
the reality is there too, because they have shifted power. We've been saying that since 2017 on this channel, that way before you've seen all this go and manifest in front of your eyes. These were some of the first videos I was putting out there, sharing everything that we're happening now. We were talking about 4 years ago was going to happen, and it's gone down, exactly as planned, because it's part of the script.
Right. So, I mean, everything that's been done is already been done. It's just they're acclimating us to it now and using certain dates for men to further acclimate certain.
And rules. They're also counting on people becoming foggy, in a way, if you can understand what I mean. We've seen there's a lot of accidents. And if we put a certain letter, the letter that comes after you, in front of the word accident, then you have a new word that is part of our lingo nowadays, at least some of us. And there's certain things that are being done that are going to cloud people's perception. Yeah, we've seen all these movies about a zombie apocalypse, and really, what is a zombie? It's not reasoning anymore. It's like, yes, there's a human body moving. There's no longer reasoning. There's no longer good judgment. It's just kind of going through the motions. There's something missing there. There's something missing. What is missing? This is part of everything that's going on right now, and the guides have said this will affect people's judgment. It will affect people's ability to reason, think clearly, and also it makes for easier man-eye-pulation.
Hmm.
And what we're seeing here, arming against the fine dining ware country. And this article, actually, this is out at South Front, which is always analyzing everything military, is saying it's pretty clear, what's going on. It's just a matter of when are they going to trigger it. And again, one of the modes and methods that they use is just creating the opportunity for an accident to happen. And then an accident happens, and then, things just flood out from there. You could look at it as a flood, you could look at it as an avalanche. Any way you look at it, it's not good. And really, I don't think it's the desire of the people of the earth. We don't really want to see any more chaos and everything that comes from war. You know, if you go to Gettysburg and you're sensitive, you're somebody that's intuitive, you're somebody that's sensitive to energies, you could sense that there are still these souls wandering that battleground, trapped, stuck in the ether. They're not progressing. Here we are 160, 170 years later, and they're still wandering the battleground. It's sad, but this does happen to our consciousness at times when we're in these horrible circumstances.
And that's why healing in this day and age is so very important, because even if it's not something like this, there could be domestic issues at home that you've gone through. There could be traumas that you've gone through at work. You could be exposed to all kinds of different domestic traumas that can block the heart chakra. And with our heart chakras expanding at the rate that they are, this can create other problems in the 3D. So, very important to heal and take care of ourselves to the best of our ability now.
Where we're going, it's going to amaze people because, think of psychics like John Edwards or Sylvia Brown, all these people that are so well known, and then think of their abilities and then recognize that the average person will have those abilities.
Mm-hmm.
The average person is going to have abilities like that. And the exceptional ones will have abilities that will mind blow you. I mean, just totally blow you away. In New Mexico, I had asked Cindy once, I said, I feel that there's a lady in the kitchen. What's going on with her? And Cindy was like, she got it immediately. Well, there was an accident. She's still walking up and down the road, and she doesn't really know what's going on. You remember her?
Oh yeah,
I mean, I
definitely do.
actually heard her saying hello, hello. She walked into the house, and she was saying hello, hello, and I could hear her saying hello, and I could kind of see her with my third eye. And Cindy got all the details. And this is a person, again, I think when she had that accident was probably like 60 years prior, 50, 60 years prior, and she's still walking the road. When you create the circumstances that we see with a global war, like we saw in World War II, World War I, you're creating the conditions for so many souls to be basically stuck in a limbo for such a long period of time. It's truly sad. It's beyond the actual events that happen here on the 3D. It does affect us after when we do leave the body. And again, our consciousness doesn't dissolve and go away. We're still there. We're still there. When we are in like a golden age and we know we're going to be leaving the body, it's so different. It's so different. The circumstances are such, and certain cultures still know this, like the Tibetan Buddhists, for instance. They understand this. So they go through a period of preparing gently for a gentle transition. You don't have the opportunity for a gentle transition when there's shots ringing out or bombs dropping.
Mm-mm.
And this is all part of that bigger plan, as we see half of Ukraine's army now being deployed to Donbass. So half of the entire Ukrainian army is getting ready, or is ready right now and deployed. And you have Putin calling out on NATO to do a deal, saying, let's get this done before there's something that happens. And then we, are off in this avalanche of a series of events that lead to a place where, certainly none of us that love peace want to see. And we see the tit for tat going on. Russia orders more U.S. diplomats to leave in a retaliatory measure. and they must leave Russia before January 31st, 2022. People are talking about different deadlines, and we're going to be doing a second video today. I think we're going to focus in on a certain astrological aspect that can influence these things, as they certainly pay attention to astrology.
Oh my gosh, do they ever? They use astrology like we use, books every day. To them, it's just common knowledge on how to use it to time bend and manipulate certain situations. So, I mean, it's only fair that we kind of use what we know as well.
They use their dark magic, because magic is real, and it's really magic again might be a term that we need to rethink, just like we need to rethink calling everything God with, the little God or the big God. There is a source. There's many different sorts of beings out there, and magic really is it's just a misunderstood science, so to speak, and it's a backwards world where science, quote unquote, often is a misdirection. And that's really the truth of the matter. As we see CEOs and insiders selling a record 69 billion of their stock. So, something's coming. The year isn't over yet. We know that. We know, we've talked about the great economic reset. We know, that it's going to go towards something that's even less tangible than what is now. I mean, what we have now is not very tangible.
I know. It's pretty not tangible.
What we need to do is to get to the tangible, because, if we're going to trust in somebody to put proper digits in the right place and they control the whole system, hey, one of the insider families, you need some extra money. Okay, well, your bank account just increased by 2 digits. Who's going to know?
Who's going to tell?
Seriously.
Yeah,
Now, if we're trading, eggs for milk, there you go. It's tangible. There's going to be no middleman.
Yes, that's very good. That's a good trade. That's a nice, energetic, tangible trade.
Hey, Joe, I see your apple tree. My God, look at what you're getting this year. Hey, I got more eggs than I could use. Do you want to switch? There you go.
That's fair.
Now, that doesn't lend to any sort of control system, does it, when it's just you and your neighbor Joe talking?
Yeah, and they definitely don't want that.
They don't want that. They can't control that. So that is what we need. We need to get into a place where they can't put their grubby little paws in there, so to speak.
Yes, which means that's going to require a lot of going within and a lot of healing and understanding of yourself. Because the more self-realization we have, the more we can assist other people and put ourselves out there.
And then we have over here people speaking up against a certain military rule, and this is in Sudan. Think about it. What are you saying when you have a military force ruling? Where's the peace in that? That's just force. And really, in reality, isn't that really the whole situation with this whole world right now? Ruling through force, ruling through certainly not peace, love, happiness, harmony, and higher vibes.
No, absolutely not.
No, it is ruling through force. This is what's going on in this entire globe. And yet, if we meet force with more force, it just creates negative karma. It creates a negative series of events. What we have to do is have a realization of what's going on. People need to realize what's going on. It doesn't mean necessarily that there won't have to be some strength used at certain points in time, but it needs to be done in a certain way, again, with a compassionate heart. And we have to just make the system inconsequential. Make it a relic of the past. Make it an artifact of a horrible bygone age that we no longer have to live in.
Just like with other things in life, when you take really good care of your health and you take really good care of your body to the best of your ability, you learn about natural alternatives, then pretty soon you don't need that other system that they have in place that kind of anchors people in as well. So it's about making certain things obsolete, then that takes away control.
Exactly. You know, it's the same thing when we look at different things. If you add more fuel to a fire, it grows brighter. It gets stronger. Now, you know, with a cancer, for instance, you want to starve it out. And it's the same thing. You know, sometimes they have to clear some trees away from a forest fire so that there's no way for the fire to jump or move any farther. You have to take the potential fuel away from it. You have to take the wind away from its sails. Leave it just foundering there, unable to move forward. Take away the power from it. How do we do that? Again, we make it inconsequential. We start to make alternatives. We start to get outside of the system as much as possible. We start to negate its ability to control us. That is the most critical component of this. And yeah, most definitely, we have to use that throat chakra and be very, very strong and assertive with what we speak and saying, you know, no,
Right.
just simply no. You know, I am a unique individual that's going to make my own decisions, period. And, you know, if it means perhaps leaving one, you know, city, town, state, territory, country, even, and going to a place where there's a little bit more freedom, or you know, we get together with others and create our little safe zones for ourselves, perhaps even within that darkness, and eventually the light will overtake the darkness.
It absolutely will, you know, but it kind of revolves a lot around healings because our heart chakra is the most powerful chakra on our bodies, and it does work with many other chakras, but the heart chakra being unblocked and being utilized can bring us a really long ways, and that's all about evolution, which is happening, so that heart chakra can move away a whole lot of blocks.
Yes, as Yeshua was talking all about the heart chakra, and you know, it is a bridge between heaven and earth, and that's the bridge that we have to cross right now as we go through this ascension process. So thank you guys again for your support. As always, stay prepared, keep sharing the love, keep sharing your comments, and keep sharing the videos so we can wake up as many as possible. If you do need to make an appointment with us, it's EEARTS at protonmail.com or evolutionaryenergyarts at gmail.com. God bless and namaste.
Namaste.